everybody, welcome to another episode of Topic
Thunder.
Here from the Outlaw Nation Show. I am John Roca.
This is not from the Outlaw Nation.
Oh, sorry, from the Top 10 Show. Jesus Christ. Sorry about that, y'all. From the Top 10 Show.
All right. Today's Topic Thunder is brought to you by Settle the Score.
Why not? Seems fair.
So Thunder is a show that we just do for our patrons. Pre-pandemic, this used to be, only over at Patreon, but since everybody's sitting at home, we decided to open it up, but only patrons can send in questions and topics, and they can do that over at patreon.com/the top 10 with the number 10. And there's a special email over there, and you can find it and send in, and it's at the $5 and above tiers. To do that, I believe it is your turn to start, sir.
Yeah. All right, let's do it. Let's get into it here. Looking forward to it for sure. So many great topics already we've discussed here on this show. This one's from Matt Jansen. Let's see. There'll be three of them here. All right. So he has some follow-ups. So let's see. Let me see if I can read them real quick. Hey, Matt and John, the NFC East has been dreadful this season. He sent this on December 28th. And as of now, the conclusion of week 16, we will officially have a sub 500 team in the division. Win the division, rather. I'm all for division champion qualifying for the playoffs, regardless of their record, but do they deserve to host a home playoff game? Should the 11-5 Buccaneers have to travel north to New Jersey to face the 6-10 Giants, where a potential snowstorm could determine the outcome? As a Giants fan, I find it crazy that my team could potentially win the division or end up with a top 5 draft pick. Both scenarios are entirely possible. Thanks for all the great content. Follow-up email. Looks like it'll be the Washington football team instead of the Giants. The Eagles laid down like dogs. Well, follow-up email. Hell of an effort, Washington football team. The breaks and officiating did not go their way. I guess my new question, since the first one is no longer relevant, who will be the Washington football team's quarterback next season? Do they draft one, roll with Heineke, or bring in another veteran? Cam Newton has been linked to them, but he looked rough this season. Love the content, guys. Thanks, Matt Jansen.
That question is, let's start with you because it's your team.
Yeah, well, I want to answer the first question, then I'll answer the second question. I think it should never change. If you win the division, those are the rules. Not because you did well in another division should you get to host a playoff game. Fuck that. You didn't. You couldn't win your own division, so why should you get credit for not winning your own division? It's ridiculous. We won our division. Anybody wins a division, whatever the situation is, they have a right to host the playoff game. Just because you did better in your separate division, that's anarchy, and I don't believe in it.
Yeah. I had the Giants not, won a Super Bowl as a wild card type of thing. I think if you're sub 5, just like in the NBA, you don't make the playoffs. I don't give a shit if you're by technicality and they take the next best record of somebody who's actually good instead of letting. But it's nothing against you. Rules are rules. You guys made it in. I was happy you made it in over everybody else.
Me too.
That was. But what do you guys want to do about quarterback?
Yeah, this is a weird situation because, Deshaun, as we're recording this, Deshaun Watson yesterday asked to be traded. And so I don't know if we have a package to trade for Deshaun Watson, but that's the choice.
He wants to go to Miami.
Yeah, but now he's saying the Jets. Now he said the Jets because
they hired
coming over from 49ers. So someone that comes with a lot of pedigree and a lot of I don't know, a lot of the players like him. Who
I was going to say, dudes seem to like him. Like the locker room chatter is good guy. I would love to play for him.
Yeah, that kind of stuff. So, it's kind of a dumpster fire of a situation to go to the Jets, for God's sakes. And he just left one. If he's going to leave the Texans, he's just about to leave one. Why would you go into another dumpster fire? It makes no sense. At least with the Washington football team, you've got Ron Rivera. They just hired a black GM. They're very much focused on diversity and trying to make that happen within the administration. Yes, they're still owned by that asshole Dan Snyder, but everything below Dan is actually working well. And so I think that's a possibility for him. For sure, and I think he'd bring free agents to come play with him in Washington.
Dude, I just love diversity is key at the racist, the most racist name team.
It's over. That's over.
True.
We don't have that name anymore.
True. It just happened. We're less than a year into it's over.
True, but they've made a lot of positive moves with diversity, to try to change the overall feeling and vibe of the team. And Dan Snyder deserves no credit for being 25 years too late at doing this. But the fact that this is happening That's a positive. And I want to focus on the positive of what they're doing rather than dwelling on the stuff from the past. Like this is, and you can still point out stuff from the past, totally valid. But I think we got to focus on the future, and positive things are happening here. So bringing in a black quarterback to lead the team, which we've had a history of doing, by the way, in our team, would be a great thing, especially someone as accomplished and incredible as Deshaun Watson. I don't want to see Cam Newton in the Washington football team colors. I like that Heineke kid, but that's also, he played against a defense that had seen absolutely zero tape on that kid. Had no idea what he was going to do. And he played well, certainly held his own, and I got no disrespect for what he did. But I don't know if I want to hand my team over to a 4th round kid from ODU who played one game and surprised the defense. I don't know if I want to do that. So for me, I'd love us to get Deshaun, but I don't think it's happening. I'd love it, but I don't think it's happening.
I tell you though, Heineke looks legitimate.
Yeah.
It didn't look like, if Tom Brady goes down, then suddenly another guy steps up behind him and they have a string of good games and the Patriots don't miss a step and be like, okay, that's a lot of the system.
Right.
And they've been under him, so they know the plays and all that jazz. Whereas Heineke is thrust into a situation in the playoffs, has no experience, and he just played with the poise that if you guys want to pass on him, I will happily, as a Bears fan, pick him up and give him a run.
Yeah. But what if he's Matt Flynn? One good game for Green Bay gets $50 million for nothing.
100%. He could be Gardner Minshew. Where he shows flashes and he's just not good enough. Yeah. The quarterback position is impossible. There's only 5, 6 truly elite quarterbacks, and there's 10 to 12 that are good.
Yeah. You're not wrong, dude.
Cam Newton's toast. You guys should never touch him with a 100-foot pole. He's toast. His arm looks like a fucking noodle.
Yeah, and I don't need to see every time he scores when they're down by 24 fucking points.
Superman?
Ugh, like, you fucker, you're down by 24 points.
Yeah.
What are you celebrating?
Well, you did that with your legs more often than not, and you're a quarterback.
Mm-hmm.
So, look, it sucks, Cam. You were MVP not that long ago.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, man, your arm is just shot.
Yeah.
So he's done.
For us to run the offense that Ron wants to run and this offensive coordinator wants to run, it's not Cam Newton. I don't even think it's Matt Stafford who's going to get injured now at the tail end of his career more often than not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sad that Phillip Rivers retired. Rivers would have been a fun one run with him and Riverboat Ron. Both those guys love to gamble on the field. Fuck, I would have kind of loved that combo. Even if we went 6-10 again, it would have been fascinating to see the possibilities of that combo together for 1 year.
I couldn't believe it. After his retirement announcement, I was driving somewhere and listening to talk radio.
Yeah.
And they were having a heated discussion as to whether or not he's a Hall of Famer.
Oh, yeah, where are you at? Because Winston and I battle about this on Game Time. Do you think he's in all of them?
No brainer.
I think so too.
No brainer.
He was like, it's ridiculous. No way. I don't think so. And I'm like, he never even made a championship, or he made only one championship appearance. I'm like, but it doesn't matter. He was so good.
If you ever watched him play, it wasn't his fault.
Yep. Agreed. And he played that championship, Matt, with a fucking broken tibia or whatever.
When LT sat down and for some undefined, but I think he blew out his knee in that game. Like he didn't have an ACL or something.
Yeah, that's it. He played with a torn ACL.
Yeah.
The whole championship game.
Still went out there and still played pretty damn good. Like he always. Yeah. The only thing he's better than at football is churning out kids. Like that's it. He is a Hall of Famer. He's down Dan Fouts.
Yeah, great point. Dan Fouts. Yes, that's a great fucking point. Dan Fouts. Yes.
You don't blame Dan Fouts for his team sucking. He was good. It's like people that want to Marino, one of the best, but never won a championship. Be like, name me the skill positions that played with him.
Yeah, right.
I know some of the names,
best.
But
yeah.
The best of what he got is third string for Montana.
Right. I mean, Duper and Clayton were great receivers for sure, but their best shot was beating the Skins in '82. That was their best shot to.
And he was a rookie?
Win a Super Bowl. Yeah, he wasn't even on the team. David Woodley was there on the team. It was later when he was when he played San Francisco, but they either the defense let them down or they never had a running game. And that was always the thing, that they could just sit back, the defenders, because they didn't have to stack the box because they always had a shitty running game.
Mhm.
For whatever reason, Shula could never get himself a strong running back on that team when Marino was in his prime.
Well, please let Winston know that he is categorically wrong.
Yeah,
Flat out.
Because I would argue, and I argued back, I said, I would put Phillip Rivers in over Eli. If I had to choose between the two, I would put Phillip Rivers in over Eli. Yes, he won 2 Super Bowls. Yes, he beat Tom Brady. But for most of those other seasons, or a lot of those other seasons, it was crap.
Was not good. Yeah, he was not good.
Yeah.
But he has the 2 Super Bowls over the mighty Patriots. And he has the Manning name.
Yes.
And he was the franchise quarterback in the largest media market in the country.
Right.
And in the world. And just like he's got a lot on his side. So he is going to make it. But yeah, I would take Phil Rivers over Eli Manning every day of the week.
Yep.
Every day. Not even question it. Phil Rivers was a better quarterback.
1,000%. I think Phillip Rivers under Tom Coughlin wins those Super Bowls as well.
Now, if you want to say like, if Matt Stafford was retiring with the same number of seasons as Phil Rivers and be like, Matt Stafford's not a Hall of Famer to me.
Nope. I don't think so either. Not even really close in my mind.
Yeah. Whereas Phil Rivers, dude, if you watched him, like he was a gamer and he was always, put it this way. Every year for fantasy for the past like 8 years.
Yeah.
He is either my first or second quarterback taken.
Smart choice, man.
It is. Smart choice. In that league, I've made the championship 6 out of the past 9 years.
Wow.
And he is always one of my 2 quarterbacks. Now, this year I didn't do it.
Right.
Because I was curious as to the Colts, but he also got taken a round earlier than I was willing to take him.
Right.
But guy's a winner.
Mm-hmm.
Just he's consistent. He gives you more touchdowns than interceptions, tons of yards. His teammates respect him. He's a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. Plus he can talk crap without cussing.
Yeah, I know those.
I watched that 8-minute video they did on him showing all the times he talked mess to everybody. And I'm just like, this is just incredible.
It's ridiculous.
Incredible.
I met him when he was like a second year guy, third year guy.
Yeah.
And in no way, he looked like just a lanky, tall dude.
Yeah.
Was not, buff and any of the
He's a country boy, man. He's a country boy. Yeah.
I know. He's going to go coach high school football now.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there's the possibility he works his way up into the NFL someday, man. I mean, I could see him coaching college.
I don't think he wants it.
And then boom. Yeah, maybe not. Maybe just because he's got all those kids.
Yeah.
The last thing he wants to do is be spending even more time away from them, which he arguably would do as a coach versus a player. Spend even more time away from the kids.
Yeah, high school is only going to ask so much of a commitment, and it's back to the roots of football and guys playing for the right reasons, so to speak.
I just want him rolling up on a ref. That's bull hockey.
Yeah,
that's bull dicky. That is bull dicky. And I just want to see that on the NFL sideline.
When I heard that the first time, I was like, it doesn't cuss. Wow. Because there's a reason they don't mic up the players.
Right.
You don't get a raw feed of the mic'd up players.
But it's the sentiment is there. He's just not using those cuss words. But the sentiment
is But at the same time, I mean, the sheer number of N-bombs that get dropped during a game.
Oh, yeah.
I can't even imagine how many.
No.
There's a reason they don't mic up. And I've heard it in basketball games when the crowd mic is a little too close.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Like,
especially over the last year, man. Some of those.
Oh, yeah.
When there's no crowd.
Now that you're droning out. But for those, if you ever happen by chance, and if you're a fan of basketball, you already know this. But if you happen to have on a Portland Trailblazers game, when Carmelo Anthony goes up for a rebound, he yells, get the fuck out of here, and either drops a motherfucker or drops an N-bomb or drops, and I've heard them all.
Mm-hmm.
Even to his own teammates. It's part of his rebounding habit.
Yeah.
It's any kind of contested rebound. Just get the fuck out of here. And then just drop something on the end. And you're like, I can only, what is the mic missing?
That's a good point. Like, what else is going on?
Mm-hmm.
What else is being said? Oh man. Rest in peace, Kobe Bryant. It's been a year, but I bet Kobe had some zingers, man, that were, flames for sure playing the game as competitive as he was.
Yeah, I rewatched his '81 olive martini commercial with Jalen Rose the other day. It's so good. So good. How many olives do you want in that 81? Just dead-eyed stares, and they just cut back and forth between the two. It's a great piece of comedy.
Did I ask you this already? Have you watched the Tiger Woods doc yet? Or no? Have you not watched it?
I have not watched. You asked about it. I have not.
Okay. No worries. Just wanted to ask. There's not a lot of sports docs that are out right now. So, I mean, when I get one, I consume it like a motherfucker, man. So I put on the bib, I get the steak knife out. I love sports documentaries, man.
I love the 30 for 30s, but I guess I don't know if well, that's not true though. I watch a bunch of like Icarus and
Icarus is good.
Yeah, Icarus is good.
Yeah.
Won the Oscar, but
yes.
I didn't think it was.
There's a new one about the women's gymnastics one called Athlete A that's on Netflix about that Larry Nasser guy who abused all those female gymnasts. And I'm
gross.
Like, maybe I'll watch this because they have gymnasts talking about it. And so,
I mean, I want to watch.
Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
But I don't.
Yeah. The anger of it all.
And the gross and just like that. How did this go on for so long?
Right.
How did people are disgusting.
Gymnastics Federation allowed to go on when they knew. Yeah.
Yeah. And just like, oh, we can sweep it under the rug. And you're like, oh man, that is the worst solution to this problem.
I don't know if I mentioned this before, but a good one you might want to watch, Matt, on HBO is Women of Troy, which is the
I forgot about that one.
That is so good. And it's like I think an hour and 15, but it is so good, man. And I was surprised. I was just like working on something one day in the office and I was just tooling around. I found it. I was like, yeah, sure. Let's see what happens. USC women's basketball team. I remember how powerful they were. And then you just watch it. It's incredible. Just incredible documentary.
Yeah, but I'm always dubious of those. It's like it's the U.S. women's team crushing in World Cup. Just like, well, the rest of the world hasn't had time to train athletes to really create a competitive level playing field.
Right.
So I'm not denigrating, but to say like, oh, she's the greatest women's player of all time, be like, the sport's only been around at this level for a very short amount of time. It's like when Ronda Rousey, she's the greatest women's fighter of all time. Be like, how many actual women have had enough professional fights to be in this discussion? It seems like we're jumping the gun on calling her the greatest of all time.
Yeah.
Whereas tennis players, for sure, we can have that discussion because we have 80 years of. Yeah. And I have zero problem with saying Serena's the best of all time.
Yeah.
Or if you want to give me Navratilova or
even Steffi.
Steffi.
A lot of people like Steffi. Yeah.
Or oh shoot, what's her name from the 70s? Bubbly blonde.
But Chris Evert?
Chris Evert, thank you.
Yeah.
Or Billie Jean King for breaking the barriers and like there's enough of a track record where we can have this discussion.
Yeah. You can go all the way back to Margaret Court, for God's sakes, if you really want to go all the way back.
Yeah, I don't even think I know who that is. So was that back when it was like on grass courts and everybody wore like long white dresses?
They played with the wooden rackets. Yes.
Uh-huh.
It was. Yes, it was.
And it was, lawn ball or whatever the fuck they called it at that point. And it was a genteel game.
Yeah, she was Australian.
Okay.
We're still alive.
I don't remember her.
Still alive.
Margaret Court?
Margaret Court. Yes. 78 years old. She retired in 1977. Played from 60 to 1977. Won 192 titles.
Wow.
I
don't know her name. That's crazy.
Yeah. She won the Australian Open 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11 times. The French Open 5 times. Wimbledon 3 times. And the US Open 5 times. So, yeah.
Well, that's impressive because that's every different court style.
Yep. But this, you could argue, though, as great as she was, you could make the kind of same case where how many female tennis athletes were as good as she was, or how many female tennis
players at that time
that were at the level that she was, that she could have a rivalry. I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe there's a tennis historian who's listening or watching this, Matt, who'd be like, well, there were these 10. And I'm okay, fine. But I don't know of any besides her.
True. They were at that level. Right. It's like when people hold up the Boston Celtics, the early run of like they were the best, and be like, dude, the playoffs were one round and then the finals for a bunch of those years, guys smoked.
Yeah. Plus Bill Russell's on the fucking team. Like they didn't have 20 Bill Russells for all the other teams. There was one Bill Russell.
during the off season, they're like, door-to-door salesmen and shit.
Yeah,
It's
right,
like,
right. They're working in
how am I? Yeah, it is a championship, but to say that those guys can compete with today's, just like,
you're insane.
No fucking way.
They destroy them.
Yeah. It's just like, I'm sorry, the level of competition. Do I think Bill Russell could translate? Yes, I think he's got a damn good shot.
Yes, I think
the
Wilt
others,
too.
it's like a case-by-case scenario. Wilt, for sure. I have zero, because his athleticism is, second to none.
Yeah. What about Kuzi? You think Kuzi?
Possibly.
I think Kuzi.
But also, when you go back and watch those, like the deliberate one-hand dribble style, as they run around, it's like such a weird, dude, you get your pocket picked every time down the court now. There's just no way around that.
Yeah, agreed.
So, yeah, it's always whenever from the early iterations of a sport, and they're like, dude was the greatest.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I don't hold that standard to like Babe Ruth.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of do now in retrospect. Especially, we just lost Hank Aaron. Babe Ruth played how many years without black people being in the game? I think any of those records from that time don't have the same validity. That's my point. I mean, I still respect and revere them as great ball players, but how can you remove the fact that there were no black ball players until Jackie Robinson came into the league? What is that, 62 when he came in? So it's like, I guess, come on.
Partly what I was saying is I think Babe Ruth could still translate.
Well, right, because there were players of equal quality at the same time. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying like to today's game.
Oh, you say he could play today?
Yeah. Stick him at first base.
I guess so. Yeah.
Stick him at first base and just like you don't have to do shit. You can still be fat.
Would you DH him? No, you don't DH him. Would you run? Like send in someone to run for him. If you got
pinch runner.
Yeah, pinch run. Pinch run him. Yeah, you'd have to pinch run him.
Yeah, but DH him. Just keep him in the AL and be like, you don't have to do anything. Just hit the ball.
You see that?
I think you could do it. Yeah, that's all you got to do is hit the ball. It's what you're good at.
I think Mickey Mantle too. Joey DiMaggio. I think a lot of those.
Sure.
Ted Williams. I think a lot of them would translate to nowadays too, for sure.
Yeah, I think baseball is a different.
Yeah. Well, it's because it's been around longer too. Yeah.
Plus, it's basically you're just playing yourself.
Right.
I mean, you're squaring off against a pitcher, but it's a lot of mental and it's one-on-one. Whereas basketball and football, it's team dynamic, it's athleticism, it's speed, it's there's so many other things. Although power is up now, and I'm sure pitching overall is faster now. But anyway,
maybe. All right. Well, that was a good first question on this one, Matt. You want to take our next one?
Sure. It's from John Labua. And, says, hey guys, I hope your 2021 is off to a good start. You guys, your guys' episode on things you miss about going to the movies made me wonder, will we ever see $1 billion grossing movie ever again? Personally, I think people will slowly trickle back into theaters through the next couple of years, but there will be a substantial part of the population that will be so accustomed to streaming that they may never go back to theaters with the same frequency that they used to. So do you guys think theater going will ever get back to a point where we have movies making $1 billion at the box office? And if so, when? Oof. Thanks, Sean Labua.
Matt, it's a great question. My answer is this. My offer is this. Nothing. No, my answer is this. I think that it will, as Sean points out here, I think it'll be a bit before we see $1 billion movie because of that. And because of the vaccination situation already, and I don't want to bring any politics into this, but already you're hearing the reports, you're seeing the reports of vaccines being thrown out because they've, they've gone past their sell-by date, so to speak, because they've been unfrozen and let out. You're already seeing the rollout. It was a very clumsy rollout from the Trump administration. They fucked that all up. And Biden's administration is coming in and taking a look and seeing how far behind the 8 ball they really were and how incompetent they were in rolling out the vaccine situation. So I think it's going to be a while before people feel comfortable or safe going back into the movie theater, because this isn't the flu, man. I know when they try to denigrate it initially, oh, it's just the flu. They're making a big deal out of it. People fucking dying, man, at exorbitant numbers, exorbitant levels. And so I think people feel very afraid, especially older people, and especially people who live or take care of older people. Certainly there's an incredible fear that, they go to a movie and contract this thing and pass it on to a loved one who is of older age or is compromised somehow physically and could damage or kill them. And so I think people are hesitant. I think it'll be a while. And yeah, so that's it. Because you got to open the theaters. And do people want to be sitting next to each other in large numbers? I don't think those, and a majority of the people go see movies. I think you would argue a majority of the people go see movies are probably left leaning. And so would they want to be in a movie theater with other people crammed in? I don't think so. So I think Sean's right. It'll be a couple of years until this thing really gets under control and we really roll this thing out and do the vaccine correctly, that people will feel comfortable going to a movie theater again in large numbers.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. So there was a report that came out, and I can't remember which country it was, whether it was, and it was an Asian country. So it was either China, South Korea, or Japan, but they opened up theaters for the first time and they sold out everything. They were packed theaters. Right. And all the reports from theater managers were, we expect it to be busy, but this is bananas. Like, we're adding showings type of thing.
Right.
I think that kind of, and that was over, I think it was last weekend or 2 weekends ago. Mm-hmm. So I think the demand is out there, but yeah, until we all, have been vaccinated and there's herd immunity, I don't really see it happening. But as we get back to kind of somewhat normal a year from now or whatever the case is, then HBO Max is not going to be getting all the best streaming movies. It's going to go back to theaters because they can make more money. Unless it turns out though, they posted the numbers of new subscriptions and maintaining subscriptions. So it could be more advantageous for them long term to do like this dual release type of thing. Where they make their money at the theater on top of the subscription service, and they still maintain that subscription, and it kind of cuts into AMC's, and others' subscription money, where they were getting it from people. So I do think it'll inevitably happen. Just as question is when, but you're right in the vaccines, need to be rolled out fully, and it's going to be a while. And we're only at 6% and change, maybe 7% here in the States of vaccinated people overall.
Right.
And I'm fucking so dead last on the list here in Los Angeles. It's going to be forever. Catherine's got more priority than I do because she's an essential worker and she's interacts with people more often and she just hits criteria. Whereas when I looked it up and just like, you sit at home.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. You sit at home. You're not essential. You're not getting a vaccine. And I wasn't trying to find a way to get, I was just curious, where am I? Yeah. And of the X number of million people, like I was dead in the last tier of the tiers.
Yeah.
Like, okay, it's going to be a while. There was a report that this CEO of a Canadian casino company.
Yes. Him and his young ass actress wife. Yeah.
Exactly. Flew to the middle of nowhere and acted like they were part of a staff at this motel a couple towns over. And everybody found it really, they were stupid about it too. Apparently they got the vaccine and immediately like, hey, can anybody give us a ride to the airport? You're like, I mean, at least Uber.
Yeah, at least Uber.
But that's the report I read where they openly asked, can somebody give us a ride to the airport? Like, fucking, are you that stupid? Or go back to the hotel, hang out for the hotel for like a day or two and then leave.
Well, and it's a if I read the story correctly, it's a small town with a predominantly large native Canadian population, kind of like Native American, Native Canadian population there. So it's perplexing how they were able to slide in and get qualified for that.
They said it was because they, it's like a rural hospital on some level. They came to this community and then other communities came in to them instead of them traveling to all the small because they're just all too small.
Yeah.
So there was no way to verify where all these people were from.
Yeah.
So people were coming in and they were like, who's the white couple no one's ever seen that says they work at the motel? No one's ever seen them in this town type of, but they were like one town over or something.
Yeah.
So it was just that. It was like, they went to the middle of nowhere and other people from other aspects of that nowhere came into that small town.
Yeah. And they reported them immediately as soon as they got the vaccine and saw them. They were like, wait a minute. So,
but the problem is the fine is $900.
The fine is nothing, Matt. It's
Exactly.
nothing.
I think
Yeah.
I was gonna say someone brought it up once, like you should make a fine, like a speeding ticket, be a percentage of your overall wealth, like of your 2019 tax return. Say you said, for the sake of argument,
Yeah.
You made $10,000 just because it keeps the numbers nice and round and easy.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, okay, then 1%.
Yeah.
And that's what you got to pay of your $10,000 or whatever. So if you made $100, 1%, okay, then your fine is $1.
Right.
But if you made $1,000, your fine is $100.
Yeah.
And it scales up. So it takes into account, hey, if you're poverty stricken, you should have to pay less than somebody who's worth millions.
Yeah.
$900 is nothing.
Right. Right.
So how does that stop the guy?
It doesn't. That's the problem. And I think with something like this, where you're taking the back, because they can't take it back out of your body. With you done something like this, they should just put you in jail for 5 years. Fuck it. You want to take this chance? Go ahead.
That seems excessive. 5 years.
I'm tired of that argument. Like, people break the rules all the time because there's not excessive punishment. There should be excessive punishment to put them in.
Why
so
not?
People stop doing it.
You got the first one. We'll make sure you get the booster, and then you're required to volunteer at a hospital. Like, you have to volunteer for 100 hours at a hospital and work with COVID patients.
Yeah, I don't. Okay, I wouldn't. I don't want that Richmond anywhere near my shit. Like, he's entitled asshole. So
yeah, 5 years in jail is really punitive for.
Okay. If you say so.
Getting a vial. I mean, they
jumped
the line.
These rich motherfuckers never learn unless you punish them really hard, because they always think they can get away with everything. And if you don't punish them hard, they're always just going to buy their way out of every situation. And so
send them to work at a morgue.
No,
here's what you jump the line to get away from.
Put them in solitary for 5 years. Won't do it again at that point, will you? I'm just saying.
That just seems overly harsh.
You're a more lenient ruler than I am. In the nation, there's none of that crap in the nation. 5 years. All right. Anyway.
There you go.
Let's get out of here. All right. Well, thank you so much for the questions we got here on the show on this episode of Topic Thunder. Really appreciate it. Please don't jump the line and get yourself vaccinated if you don't need to. For God's sakes, have some respect for the people who do need
Hang out in the rear with me and the cool kids.
Exactly. I'm sure I'm there too. I just work from home myself. But yeah, give it, do the right thing. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching or listening to this episode of Topic Thunder. Matt, what do we have to tell them?
Make sure if you're a patron and you submitted questions for this, if you're $10 and above, we're going to be doing our live show on February 18th, and we'll be posting a private link that you can follow and go to that, and we'll be interacting with you guys and doing all kinds of fun stuff. But it's coming at February 18th at noon Pacific Standard Time. So please join us over there. We'd love to see you, love to have you, and can't wait for that. It's going to be a lot of fun, and you can follow me anywhere at Matt Nost.
That's right. You're going to get a chance to watch us do the show. There'll be no editing. We rarely edit. So it's just us doing the show live. Mm-hmm. You're going to get to watch it for the first time ever. If you're a $10 above patron, that's a gift you're going to get. And Matt, we're going to be doing more of these if it goes well. So that'll be a huge perk for those of you who are $10 above patrons to be able to essentially watch us make the sausage in the kitchen. And then we drop the audio of the episode and the video of the episode for everyone else the following Tuesday or the upcoming Tuesday. Yeah, the normal time. So it'll be there for people to watch or listen to again. But you'll get to watch us live do the show and maybe come in at the end with some comments or questions. We'll see. All right, that's it. Follow Matt at Matt Nost. Follow me at The Rocha Says. And then we'll talk to you next time on another brand new episode of Topic Thunder.